Alright, first job I have to do this morning is start putting out some slurry on our paddocks, because our paddocks haven't got slurry in a long time because they've been too wet. And I never remember tanks being so full of slurry this time of year. Normally they'd be well on because we'd have our second cut done, which didn't get any slurry either after it was done, but it's just too wet. Fields badly needed as well. It's just not a matter of just getting it out there. The fields do need it. They've been well diluted with all the rain. So let's get something on them. But before I do that, we have an almost flat wheel. There's a very slow puncher on this for the past half a year. I need to drive into town and get it looked at. It's very slow. It takes about a month for it to go down. The good thing about it is it's only flat on the bottom. It'd be much worse if it was flat all the way around. It's just hard to fix, and there's probably a chance that it'll take longer to fix as well. Come on, do your press up. There she goes. I always like that bit. Right, so that guy there is supposed to hold this and stop it from turning. I was wondering why there was so much slurry getting thrown up here to the shaft the last time I was using it. So, and that's probably what was causing it, because I put a new seal in here to stop that from happening. You do get slurry that comes up here. It kind of keeps the whole thing lubricated, but it shouldn't go up any further than there. So this could be part of that problem. So let's take this old rusty nut out and see what we can do with it. Can access it from the inside because the propeller is there and it's got a back plate to it, so it doesn't allow you to do that. The easiest way to put another nut here, just weld it on 100%. Just going to take the edges of this nut. So that's mixing there now. A lot of people ask me about this mixer, and I've had it a long time. I bought it back just after I done my ag college, and that time if you had a green cert, I don't know if it's the same as it is now, but that time if you had a green cert you qualified for a 20% grant on slurry equipment. There probably was other equipment as well, but slurry equipment was one of them. So I bought this agitator. We were borrowing one all the time. And it was quite a journey away from us. A red rock one, an old red rock one, which was grand, but we could never get it when we wanted it. And once you get it, then you have to give it back. You know what I mean? It took up nearly a day going to get the thing and leaving it back. I just said I'd go and get my own, and I have to say it was a great investment. That's an NC with a 3000 pump on it. It has been very reliable. We just put a seal on the shaft there last year because some of the slurry was coming up and out the top of the spout. So that was an easy enough fix, just exactly underneath where that clamp was. I welded, but it has stopped the slurry, which was beforehand coming up around where the shaft is there, the PTO shaft, as you can see where the slurry all around it, when it was pumping all around there the last time I used it. That is what was causing it. So dribble bar is what I'm doing today, so we're just going to type in dribble bar. So what is the operating width? So my dribble bar is a 7.5 meter. So 7.5 meters. And then finally, all you do then is pick whatever it is. There's a sprayer, a dung spreader, topper, whatever. Slurry tanker is what we're using. Now start and just hit save. So you'll be going in then and just clicking on this, and that's it. She's ready to rock. I'm in the field I want to work in now, so just hit start. And as soon as I do the bit that I want to do, it'll show up green behind the tractor. And then I hit stop. And then as soon as I come back to this field with the next tank, all I have to do is get into the new area that I'm going to be, preferably along where you put the slurry the last time. Hit start again, and away it'll go. So you don't have to worry about where you actually go. You just do all the bits that's not green. And don't have too many red bits, because red bits means you're putting on or overlapping too many times, which in my case, there'll probably be a lot of red bits. We're on. Tommy Macerator, and away we go. Now, here we are, that's where we're playing slurry to. White line there, in case you're wondering, and the odd red one now just because of my eyes of it, but in case you wonder what that's for, well, rabbits. So it's actually 2 days later now after we mixed them tanks, and you can see for the first time I'm in the sunlight and it's bright, it's not dull and gloomy. But anyway, we have this tank here now completely emptied. We have moved on to this other tank over here on the far side, which is a big enough old tank, and we have about, I'd say 15 load gone of that. And then that tank at the bottom over there is still full. So we've still quite a bit to put out yet, but we're getting there. That's the main thing. It's very handy to be able to just jump on the 54, mix whenever you want. Just mix for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, give it a quick store, and then put out again. And tomorrow morning before I start, I'll give it another quick mix. No big long mix or anything, because the tractor's there available to do it anytime I want, and that saves me a hell of a time. Just looking at my invisible watch here, and it's gone 2:15. I have to be careful now because school runs is back, and sometimes you can nearly forget them. But I'm back doing the school runs now, and that kind of eats up a lot of your time in the evenings, because once you hit lunchtime, if you go in for lunch, I find when you come back out again, it's no length until 3:30, you're gone. And by the time you come back, then there's no point in starting anything after that, because you're getting close to milking time. So it does kind of interrupt your day, but that's part of being a parent and being a dad, and that comes part of parcels. Now what I'll do is I get everything ready for milking tonight, and we're going to move our heifers real quick. I'm actually grazing the aftergrass that came from our second cut at the minute, and as I move the heifers on, I'm trying to come in behind them and put slurry on at the end. So we're going to tip over here now, and we're going to get these heifers moved real fast. We have to put something around the wee cottage just to keep them away from that, and put a bit of electric on that as well, and have that done, so tomorrow morning when I run the kids to school early, I can jump onto the mixer, get a wee bit mixed again, get the tank on, get a few hours of slurry done on where they have et, and that just keeps the whole thing going. So I'm over here now, and I'm after putting a fence up. Very hard maybe for you to see it on camera, but I have a fence running right around the cottage, an electric fence. But then we come in here, which is our lower field, or a bog field we'll call it. We put the name bog field on it. Sorry, not face you into the sun, I face you this way. A gorgeous evening to be out and to be just walking around looking at things. It's the nice part of living in the countryside. But this is our reseeding now, which is brilliant. I'm really happy with it. Lovely thick lush grass on it. Didn't get any fertilizer whatsoever because we couldn't get in here. I'm hoping I'll be fit to get my calves in here. If I can't get the calves in here, which I'm hoping I can, but if I can't, I have a fella who is releasing land beside me who has sheep, and I'll let him put some sheep on it. Let them eat it down, because they'll make an absolutely powerful job of it. I made a great job of this field. It is only 2 acres, but 2 acres, much better than what it was. And to me, that's a lot. Another thing I need to fix here as well is this hole. That's our percolation hole. That's quite deep, that. It's dangerous as well, so I have to put a proper fence around that. I have to fill it, but I need to draw over stuff from home to push actually into it and fill that hole up. Close the gate down here. I don't think I did. I did. I was thinking. Come on! These batch of heifers, they're peculiar compared to ones we've had any other year. They're very inquisitive, and no matter what you go to do, they're always very weary about what you're doing. I don't know why other heifers we've had other years would follow me. You've often seen it, would follow me right at my leg and go anywhere you'd nearly ask them to go. But this last few times we've been trying to get them out here through the gates up into the crush to do a few different things with them, and it has been torturous, absolutely torturous. It's actually only 1 or 2 that does it, ringleaders, and we have a couple of bad ringleaders. You'll find it's the one that always stands behind, and I know exactly which one it is that very black one at the very top. Now when I go to let these heifers in, that she won't come near. She will always keep her distance, ready to dart away completely away from you as soon as you go to let them in. So just at the end of that drone clip, you seen Ruby was standing just here. She's there now, but the sun is a bit of a glare now. But there's one of our heifer calves there. They've done super well this year. Really happy with our calves. We've 16 good heifer calves there. We did have one issue with one calf. I noticed that it wasn't thriving, and it was a little bit smaller than the rest of them. And it'd been going on for quite a while. I thought it was something that maybe the calf had come out of itself, because it had been covered for everything. And there was no obvious sickness there, had a great appetite and everything. It just was not thriving like the rest of them. But I started to notice then that the particular calf in question, which is actually here now, that one there, 39, started to get a brown colour to it. The rest of the calves have a lovely dark shine, black and white shine to them. And that one calf didn't. It had a brownish kind of a colour to it. Now, a lot of times that's down to a copper deficiency. That brown kind of colour not leaving on calves. It can be down to the weather as well, the real warm weather that we had, and then swapping from that to wet. But I started noticing the cooler mornings came a bit of mucus around his nose and mouth, and that led me to believe that maybe the calf had a respiratory infection, maybe just a chill or something like that. I had a chat with the vet and I said I'd put it on Pharmacin. So I put it on that for 3 days, and that was it. The calf bounced out of it. You could see the following day the improvement in the calf, so I was glad to see that. So there are minor things, and I have to say, maybe not such a good thing for YouTube, but for me it's been a fairly uneventful time for animals. Just the routine of moving them, feeding them. Even despite all the bad weather we had, the animals themselves have been quite good. But that's it, they're not getting any meal now. They're on once a day feeding, So I'm mealing them in the mornings. But they're old enough now and they don't need it twice a day. So another little area here I wanted to show before I leave it for this evening, and that is this place where we put the shores. We put three or four shores here. This was always a wet spot in this field. Even with all the wet weather we've had, it's dry now underfoot for the first time in a long time, and I'm glad to see it. We're only letting cattle in to graze around it now. Just this wee area here I'm talking about. Because it was only after being tilled, we didn't want to let the harvesters or anything in here, just to give it time to settle. Hence the reason it got strong. But the cattle will eat it. Whenever they don't eat, we'll top it down and it'll be fine. Another thing we will have to address, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, is these dockweeds. Now here where we're from, we call them Dawkins, and a lot of farmers in Ireland would call them Dawkins. But anytime I say that, a lot of people ask me what the hell that is. Even people from the farming background in different countries. So when I mention Dawkins, we are of course talking about dock weeds, if you want to call them. These guys here, they're everywhere in Ireland, and they're difficult to control. And no matter how many times you spray them, they'll always come back again. They're in the ground, and if you ever till the ground up, the seeds can lay in the ground for over 100 years and come back again. So you're all the time at them. This year, because of the bad weather, they weren't sprayed, and as a result there's patches like this. It's not the whole field is like this, but there is patches like this, and especially in silage ground, that's not good enough. That needs to be wiped out. I'll come back in with the sprayer a week later or so when the grass starts to grow again, and I'll just wipe them out of it on this side, and we'll do the same with the low side then, and hopefully get a good kill. Just as I was heading home, it's amazing, can you see them in the distance, but it's amazing how quick they went for the reseeded grass. They're in around the cottage straight away, and this field has lovely aftergrass in it, but no, they knew where they were heading. I suppose you can't blame them. Alright, so it's a couple of days later now, and I'm glad to say that about 90% of the slurry is finished with, and that's a big weight of my shoulders, and I should be able to easily finish off the rest of it now in the next couple of days, because I had the hard parts done. The steep parts was dry. The weather has changed this evening. It's got quite windy and a bit of rain, not much, just an old drizzle. But I do want to cover one thing, and it's something I'm getting asked an awful lot of, and I wasn't really going to mention on the video. I was talking to my wife a couple of nights ago about this, and kind of decided I'd just mention something briefly. I got a lot of questions asking me going to the ploughing this year. Now, I haven't been at many shows, and you might notice that I don't go to too many shows that are on. The Calvin show and the Minalty show was just the two that we went to, the only two things we went to this year. We were asked to go to several shows, but this year just didn't allow us to do that. Reason being is, well, off camera there has been things that haven't been that great going on, or haven't just been going our way this year, and most of it's just my parents' health. The one that we're dealing with now at the moment is my mum. She's been in hospital now for nearly 2 months, and yeah, so which is a long time. She was home for a week in between, but look, it's just one of those things. So tonight I'm actually milking as early as I can now this evening. It's coming close to 5 o'clock, so I can get over and see her tonight. I did actually meet 2 people over in the hospital last Sunday. I didn't know who they were, but they see me in the ward and they came in to say hello and didn't realise who my mother was or why I was in there. And one guy says, I left you a message on YouTube a couple of weeks ago and you never responded, and I left you a message on Instagram and you never responded, and now I kind of see why. A lot of you have seen that I haven't been as responsive on YouTube in the comment section and things as I normally would be, and this is the reason why. This is going on in the background. It's part of life. It could be an awful lot worse. I'm not sure about the ploughing. It'll all depend on what that time is like, what that week is like, because last week was a bad week, this week is a good week. We're heading towards better weeks, I think, coming, fingers crossed. But I just don't know about the ploughing. We'll just have to wait and see. So I'll let you know on Instagram maybe the night or two beforehand. That's all I'll be fit to do. And if I do get, which I'd love to get, to meet people and just have a bit of crack, and I'd love to see some things as well there, but these kind of things come first. I'm sure a lot of people understand what I'm saying. So I know the Funky Farmer and Farmer P from the UK are over. I think Cammy from the Sheep Game could be over as well. And remember, if you are from Ireland and you do see them guys, give them a warm welcome. Let them know they're in Ireland and show them our hospitality, because we're known for good hospitality, and let's keep that record going. We'll get back at the 50 now in a few days. We have a video kind of more or less made, and you will enjoy it, because things like that I actually enjoy making. It lifts my mind. And I know there's a lot of people with the same kind of stuff going on in their lives, and they do enjoy watching those sort of things. But anyway guys, thanks very much for watching. Talk to you next one. Right, I'm here girls, let's go.